Hey geeks, do you love comics, collectibles, and TCG? Well, here at Cardboard Cave, we have the place for you. Pass by Kapitan Granuja Comics and Games and find all your favorite geeky items there. Look for them at Facebook or Instagram or call them at 787-659-7003. A store blessed by Nicole Bolas.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cardboard Cave. I am being the weird host again because John is unavailable today. He had a family emergency. We wish him the best. I know he's fine, so don't worry, guys. But we still have our panel of experts regarding all things Magic the Gathering, all things Wizards of the Coast. So let's start things off with JP. Hi, JP.
Hey, what's up?
All good, man? All good?
Yeah, everything good. Everything good.
Awesome.
Let's introduce our late host.
No, okay, I'll give him a little bit of credit. It was only 10 minutes this time, so he's improving. He's getting there. Hi, Christopher.
What's up, guys?
Awesome. But we have a little surprise because I managed to wrangle up an extra guest host for tonight. Welcome to the stream, Fabiola.
Hello.
Hey, Fabiola.
She
Hi.
is a Magic the Gathering player just like us, and she focuses on Commander just like us, basically. She's also played competitive format. She's played Arena too, but she mainly focuses on Commander just like us. We're all Commandy players, basically.
Yes.
So it was a boring Magic week until Wizards. I think it was yesterday, right? No, yeah, yesterday. No, the day before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was
like-
Wednesday. It was Wednesday because I missed the stream and then I saw all the leaks at night. They did what they call the Summer of Legend, I believe.
Yeah. The article came out on
Yes,
yesterday.
the article, which I'm gonna set up right now. We're gonna set up there. Yeah. But also, I do want to talk about that for a second. It's called Welcome to the Summer of Legend, right? And that's interesting because when you see the box art, and we're gonna show it because I think it is on the article as well. They showed what's that old card? The card. He's an old Legends card. It's the
Like
dude with the
Deckard?
sword. It's the dude with the sword. And
Dakon Blackblade.
Right, Dakon Blackblade. And the art for the box, it's him. And there's been a lot of speculation on Reddit, and I think on when the stream happened, that they were going to include some of those legend creatures, and they're either going to put them as they are, or they're going to. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I think the Summer of Legend is written like that for a reason. I think it's purposeful.
Literal. They're gonna like you if you get
Oh, shoot. JP.
if you're getting Legends
There we go.
cards, Angus
Yeah.
Mackenzie is like a money card. Right? Well, maybe it won't be afterwards, but if the speculation is right.
So
A lot
it's
of
my
these
theory.
old
My
money
theory
cards,
is my theory is they're going to print the old, like some of the old really good legend cards, or they're going to reintroduce some of these legend cards, but with like new abilities. Because the Dakar card, he's cool, but he's just doesn't do much. He just looks cool. The guy like gets boosted for every land you control. That's not an amazing ability. Which I'm pretty sure like if they reintroduce him again, like it'll be interesting. JP, you were lagging a little bit, just in case. So let's start talking about Summer of Legend. Epic, grandiose, multidimensional, at home, in store, on screen. Your choice, your fun, your way. I love how they're trying to sell you on this. By the way, another interesting little tidbit before we start. Starting with Modern Horizons 2, they want you to go to your LGS and start playing Sanctioned Magic. What do you think about that? Starting with Fabiola.
Hello. Is it?
Hi.
Is it? Oh, okay. Here
We
we
can
go.
hear you. You're fine.
Okay. It says
Yes.
that you cut off.
Oh,
What was the
okay.
question?
Yeah,
The
you
question
cut
is-
off you
Oh.
cut off the entire question.
I'm sorry. So the question is, started with Modern Horizons 2, they want you to go to your LGS and play Sanctioned Magic again. And they want to do some events during the summer as well. So what do you think about that, Fabiola?
Now during the summer, like ooh.
Starting
I-
summer, going
uh,
onward.
I mean, summer is in 3 weeks. I mean, I'm still pandemic panic,
Okay.
so I wouldn't do that. I
It'll
wouldn't
be
go there.
interesting. It would be interesting because in Puerto Rico it wouldn't apply because we can't
Yes.
go to playrooms. Of course, this all depends on the rules, and it's stated here that they're not gonna like fault the LGS if they can't do the events. But if they can, they're saying we're now gonna try to set up events to incentivize players to go back. Chris,
Yeah,
you
Orengo,
think
you
good
just cut
idea?
off.
Oh, again? Am I cutting off?
Yes.
You know, I
Or
hear
am
him
I?
fine though. That's the weird thing.
Okay,
Well,
then it's
like it's both of us then, because you cut off for
Okay.
Fabiola last question.
okay.
Uh,
Well, if I'm fine and I hear you fine in the
I
stream, then
mean,
I think we're good. Don't worry.
Maybe like our ISPs are fighting or something. Like me
Maybe
and
they're
Orengo have
fighting.
Liberty, and you guys have like Claro or something, and then
No, I have Liberty too, but Liberty's never good, man. But
huh,
Christopher, what do you
so
think?
weird.
What do you think?
Kind of got lost in the internet thing for a second,
Would,
but
would you go?
um,
Would you go to your
about
LGS? Would you do the sanctioned tournaments or sanctioned events?
God knows I want to go, but at the same time, I just keep thinking about the whole pandemic thing because you know I have family members who are like at risk. I live with my grandparents, which are
Yeah.
like old and are like at risk people, so it really just kind of makes me
Mhm.
think about it a lot because it's not that I don't want to go to my LGS. I definitely desperately do want to go back to my LGS and start playing paper magic again,
Of course.
but I don't know, there's just a lot more things to think about than just playing paper magic with my friends again, unfortunately.
I agree. I mean, JP, you'll tell us what you think too, but yeah, I'm kind of in agreement.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I feel like I would love to go, but the pandemic is still kind of on. So
Yeah.
okay.
I agree.
Like
I
I'm getting the second dose to my vaccine soon, so that would make me in a lot of ways feel a bit safer, but at the same time there's two factors to consider. We don't 100% understand if the vaccine prevents you from getting COVID. There are a lot of like people and studies that are suggesting that it doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. It just makes sure that it doesn't hit you as
as
hard.
hard. Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
vaccines usually work in either it lowers drastically the percentage that you really get it, and if you do get it,
Mhm.
like the symptoms are gonna be very low, like a flu shot. It's
Exactly.
essentially like a flu shot, man.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's always gonna be people that might get it like inadvertently, like
Exactly.
there's no way around it, but getting the vaccine is always a great idea. Just so you know, everybody, getting the
Mhm.
vaccine is always good regardless. Just if you can get it, just get it. But it's going to drastically lower the chances of getting it. And if you do get it, it won't be as tough or hard. I think the thing is, like, I mean, we can't really talk about it because in Puerto Rico, again, the game rooms, we're not allowed to play in them. I went to Granuja, our local game store, the one that we always put the ad for. I went there the other day with Fabiola, and, you know, he literally used all the tables that would be for us to play, and he's just put, like, all the comics there. Because now he's just selling a bunch
All
of
the merch.
comics.
Yeah.
So he just puts like all the storage and all of that because he knows he can't use the tables for now. So he's repurposed them for comics, for like the new releases and stuff like that. So I think it'll be a while before in Puerto Rico we're allowed to go to game rooms. I would suggest that the LGSs that aren't able to do this, just do it online. Just set up a Discord like we did at the beginning of the pandemic. And just set up a little webcam and do some little simple events. You know, we all buy our pre-release for like the D&D set, for example, and we have like a little actual tournament brought to you by Granuja, whatever. Like that'd be a cool idea, man. Like I'd be on board in that. Since they're actually going to be some legit prices, because I know they're going to start giving the mystery booster, the convention edition, out as prizes as well, in terms of like as well as other types of boosters. And I know that the LGSs still get the boosters, the standard showdown boosters, they still get them. They just can't use them because you know. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And
That's another thing. I wonder like how some of
Mhm.
these tournament numbers have been affected, if at all, because right before the pandemic started, they did release the MTG Companion, which is supposed to allow you to do like little tournaments and stuff without having to like, you know, do it at an LGS, because you can pretty much just set up your own tournament at home. And if I'm not mistaken, it actually applies points to like your what's it called?
Planeswalker
like
thing.
ID. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder if there's been like any numbers from that side, because I really haven't seen a lot of like community posts and stuff like that around that.
I think people mostly have just been relegated to play paper commander and then just play arena. I mean, the arena's open, so those stats been boosted. Tell me.
So yeah, I was about to say that, like, I wonder, like, when everything comes back to normal, if it's gonna be like this weird feeling that paper Magic has been like on an iceberg, frozen like the Avatar
for like a year.
And people have their decks, but are their decks before the pandemic, which they know they can probably update. I'm talking about standard and stuff like that. And then it's like, well, I mean, I did buy Magic cards during the pandemic, but most of the time what I've been hearing is that people have gone to Commander because why not? You wanted to play with your friends. It's still hard times. So I just wonder, like, if there's gonna be like a surge, like, oh, we can play paper. What card am I missing? I need to buy. I need to upgrade my decks. What's gonna happen there?
You know what? You might be right. I think that once rotation happens, which I think by the time we actually have like legit tournaments on a grander scale, the rotation would have happened. That means that basically your standard decks as of last year are basically useless. But
2019.
Yeah, exactly. It basically be 2019 decks that are basically useless. But on the plus side, it does mean that all those cheap Strixhaven, Kaldheim, all those weird brews you could have done on paper, they'll be infinitely cheaper. But the thing is, you're right. There might be a surge in all these prices because if there's actual active interest in playing paper Magic and sanctioned tournaments on a grand scale after rotation, when you know that after rotation, we know that standard's going to be nerfed very heavily after rotation. Unless they do something the D&D sets, it'll be very nerfed.
Getting rid of Eldraine is going to like hit the format hard.
Yeah, considering all these sets are very like weak in terms of what we had in like Throne of Eldraine and stuff.
Impact in standard time.
Oh, exactly. So it'll be interesting. I think you might be right. If paper Magic tournaments become like legit, I think those prices are going to surge. Like those Strixhaven prices right now, like if they legit start making like weird lesson and learn decks that are legit in paper, those things are going to go up.
I think Kaldheim is going to have like a pretty big impact once rotation comes, depending on what they do with the D&D set, especially because of the foretold mechanic.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing this card in a lot of brews. It's a Saga, Raven's Warning.
Yeah.
Where you just bring a card from the sideboard on the third effect, but then you also have the Raven. The Raven, if you smack with the Raven,
you draw a card.
You get in the first turn, you draw a card, and you get to look at your opponent's hand.
Yep.
So you can learn. So you can kind of like know what you're going to play after that too. So I think that card is going to make a huge splash, especially because of the third part, in which you just pull anything from your sideboard, which has been big with the whole lesson and learn mechanic.
Yep.
I don't know. It's going to be a really exciting season once rotation comes along.
I think so. Yeah. I think Kaldheim is going to have a big impact. I mean, we got to consider the fact that they have the snow-covered lands in that set, and that's going to be heavily used after rotation. Like, they haven't... Like, people have bought their snow-covered lands because they bought them. But if there's a big incentive to utilize them in standard for 2 years, and everyone's just going to buy those lands.
There's just no incentive not to use them. There's literally no downside to
it. There's literally no downside. Okay, well, let's start.
One of the real quick, one of the interesting things is if people start buying a lot in LGSs, you'll get to the bottom part of this article and the promo.
Oh yeah, but don't spoil because I wanted to get that. It's a great program, by the way. But we'll get to that. Okay, so let's start. So they obviously, even though this set is like 2 months away, obviously WotC couldn't help themselves. They wanted to give you a little tiny spoiler of their new set, Dungeons and Dragons: Dark Alliance, because they literally couldn't wait.
This is a video game? Yeah,
Never
that's
mind.
a video game.
I thought that was the name of the set. Oh, wait, no, it's not the name.
Adventures in Forgotten Realms.
Well, they have a cool little game, so now you know.
Yeah,
never mind.
Actually, isn't it basically like a Diablo Dungeons and Dragons or something like that? I think it
probably is. It's gonna come in June 22. It's gonna come for PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox consoles, Xbox Series X. I thought this was like the set. I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna start with the actual thing, Modern Horizons 2. And finally, after Wizards have been teasing us for 1,000 years, boosters, it seems. They're finally giving us the enemy fetch lands, and they're not doing like a big thing where they're mythics and everyone would flip out. Or they're gonna put one in every 3 boxes. Who knows? But I'm assuming they won't. And there you go. In all their glory, the 5 enemy fetch lands. But also, let's not forget, they have different variations of them, which I do not know if they are going to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
okay,
they are.
perfect. So they're going to
The
have the borderless, the extended art version, which obviously is only going to be the collector boosters, which this collector's booster is going to be hot. I'm going to try to get one at a decent price. If I cannot,
Decent
I'm
price,
just going
he
to
said.
try.
Like
I know, right?
$400.
Yeah, that's gonna be the problem. Like
Don't
I know they're gonna
worry.
scalp. Yeah, they're gonna scalp the hell out of
Don't
it.
worry about it. They're
Yeah,
gonna buy
don't
more
worry.
of that one.
You know
Yeah.
who's
Therefore,
not
those
gonna
ones are gonna
scalp it?
be the cheap ones, and
Yeah.
the other ones that are
That's
not
true.
cool, those are gonna be the priciest one, like they
So-
have done in the last
so
2 sets. So
That's exactly.
don't
So
worry
so it's
about
gonna be good because as you see, they're gonna be the normal versions of this, which are gonna be in all the set boosters, draft boosters, whatever. There's gonna be no problem there. We're gonna talk about this for a second. Give me a second. So then we're gonna have the extender, which again is gonna be available only in the collector boosters. And finally, they're gonna introduce a retro frame because they did in Time Spiral Remastered, and people obviously loved it. I was one that I was ecstatic about it. I bought a bunch of old border cards, and seeing them in basically Sandikar framing, magnifique. So let's start with that.
It's very
JP, what
very
do you
reminiscent to the. It's just very reminiscent to the Onslaught fetch lands, the original ones.
Yeah, true.
It's
Obviously
just
with the
kinda
new
nice.
art, which obviously with the new art,
Yeah.
but it's still great. It's still great. Like
It's still pretty great.
So JP, what do you think of having 3 variations of fetch lands?
Hopefully that price just plummets.
I hope. I
It
really do
just
hope.
plummets and keeps on going down and down and down.
Buy all the
If I
fetch
can
lands
get
that
if I can get fetch lands for $5, I'm gonna be.
Oh my god, that'll be the dream. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be like
$10.
on the I think it's gonna be like a $10 thing. Except maybe like which one is always the most expensive one? Is it Misty?
Verdant Catacombs.
Burning
and,
Catacombs.
Like
Are you sure it's not Misty?
usually.
Misty Rainforest?
I'm pretty sure the one that Verdant Catacombs has always just been the most expensive one. Unless
right.
Misty Rainforest could be the most expensive one right now, but Verdant Catacombs has always been like $98 plus.
Okay, so considering those, I mean, at worst, I feel like it's gonna be like a $15 card. Like at worst, like it's gonna be like the higher end because it's still a fetch land. But I feel that you're right, and people obviously, and myself included, I'm gonna try to get at least the older border on a decent price. I'm gonna try, but if I see them being like $50, it's gonna be like it's not worth it at all. But we're gonna see how these prices fluctuate. I do agree. I feel like it's gonna be like hopefully a $10 rare. At most $15 rare. I hope people don't think that because it's fetch lands. Yeah, like make fetch lands affordable. $1 for free. Give them all to me. Christopher, what do you think about having 3 variations of fetch lands?
I dream of a day where I can get fetch lands for $1, man. That's all I gotta say. That's all I want.
That's what
That's all
Bernie
I
dreams
need.
as well. The fetch lands are too damn high. Beautiful. Fabiola, what do you think of having 3 variations of fetch lands of the enemy?
Well, seeing how having different variations in other sets, that somehow has permitted me to buy some cards that before I couldn't because they were pricey. I like it because people start buying other things and then the prices drop. And maybe now I can actually, as a newcomer, relatively newcomer, finally I can buy some fetch lands and not feel that I have destroyed my wallet about it.
We can finally play modern without putting away our life savings or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly, because it's
agree.
like, oh, I love Magic, but then you realize you need lands to play. Okay, so how much is it? Oh, my
agree.
heart.
Yeah.
Let's go to the
Oh,
panel.
yeah, my deck just has 4 Scalding Tarns. Okay, so here's my life savings.
As you see, we're gonna have see the guy, the card, the blade knight, the dark blade. See, he's in the cover, and we have a little cute little squirrel in the set booster. So we're gonna have draft boosters. We're gonna have set boosters.
We need more squirrels in Magic.
I always agree. We're gonna have the collector boosters. We're gonna have the bundle, and then we're gonna have the pre-release pack, which I am actually. We should get one of those at least because it'd be a fun night of playing modern. Well, modern-esque, you know, that'd be kind of cool.
Sealed.
Yeah. But seeing that there's gonna be all these things, I don't think Modern Horizons is gonna be that expensive. Then it should be like what 100, 120. I don't think it's gonna be like 200.
You know, it's not gonna be 100, 120.
Are you sure? Because considering the fact that we have draft boosters, set boosters, we have everything.
I get the feeling that if Wizards doesn't milk it, the more scummy LGSs might.
But there won't be like we're gonna have print to demand, meaning it won't be like Time Spiral where they dried up. We're gonna have like you can still buy Modern Horizons 1. You know what I mean? That's what what they're implying. You're going to be able to buy Modern Horizons from here to a couple of years later, and it's supposed to be at the same price. And Modern Horizons, when it came out, how much was it? I forgot the price.
Wasn't it like $200?
I think it was $200. But considering the fact that we have the draft boosters and the set boosters,
I think they're still gonna do $200. I don't think they're gonna step down.
So.
You know what? It's confusing to me because if you remember, Commander Legends was 100, and then the set booster. Well, there wasn't a set booster. I'm sorry. The draft booster was 120, and that's why I bought 2 of them. And obviously, the collector's boosters initially was 250, but obviously because it's Commander staples, it rose up to like $400. But it was Commander, and that could have been easily $200, and it wasn't, and that was a premier product.
This also has bundles. Like the bundles, that's the key piece. That's how you know that's not gonna be like
$200
really expensive.
Exactly, because this is supposed to be $40.
Like oh no, the draft boosters is $200.
Yeah,
but the bundle's like $40. And you
exactly.
get 10 boosters.
So that's why I'm thinking that I don't think it's gonna be that expensive. You're right, Chris, in terms of they might scalp you a little bit. But it might be the scalping might only happen with the collector booster. I don't think it's gonna happen with the other things. Like I think that the market's gonna like dry up those collector boosters because obviously the fetch laws are in it, and potentially broken ass cards as we're gonna see very soon. But I feel like there's gonna be so much product of this. Come on, there's even a pre-release pack. Like there's gonna be so much product. I feel like it cannot be that expensive. That's gonna be insane if it's super expensive. I don't know. It'll be interesting. We're gonna see. I'm actually gonna check with Granuja. They probably already know the price, so it'll be interesting to know. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. They also released this card, which I believe is a legacy sort of staple-y card. Yes. It's called a Sanctum Prelate.
Sanctum Prelate. Yeah.
Yes.
This is a card that came first out in Conspiracy 2.
Awesome.
It does not have any other printing. Okay. It is an original card from that, and it even has a fancy
retro frame.
Border, retro frame. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is a very strong card in Death and Taxes.
Oh, let me tell the audience what it does. It's 1 colorless and 2 white. For a 2/2 human cleric, and it says, as Sanctum Prelate enters the battlefield, choose a number. Non-creature spells with the mana value equal to the chosen number cannot be cast. Okay, JP, talk to me.
So, what's the name? I have the card over there. The Achilles that came in Theros.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember.
I forgot his name.
I forgot it too.
He was white, red for a 6/1. As he entered the battlefield, you chose a number.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you chose a number at random between 1, 2, and 3.
Relatively new guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, between 2 and 3, and you can't
like target.
He has protection. He has protection from everything except converted mana cost 1, 2, or 3.
Yes.
So you just play this and name the number he has, and then he has protection from basically everything.
That's true.
That's a little cool thing, but mostly it's just this card is used in Death and Taxes in Legacy. It's a 1-of, maybe 2-of at maximum. It's really strong because you could just you choose the number. So if you want to stop Storm, you could say 0 for some of the zero card artifacts. Just saying one.
Mhm.
Just stop Brainstorm, Lightning Bolt. You stop so many cards.
Mhm.
Especially and this coming to modern is very good for that specific archetype.
Yeah.
It's not particularly very strong archetype, at least right now, but it's also, if I'm not mistaken, it's a human, right?
Yeah, it is a human. So obviously, humans.
Humans.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So Fabiola, what do you think about this card?
I love this card.
Perfect. That's good.
Just say two, and he can't counterspell. He can't demand your
Exactly. JP
spells.
knows me.
He
JP
can mana
knows.
leak you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
It's just that for me, it's like, so people are always trying to optimize their deck, and one of the biggest thing is let's do things for the lowest cost, and then you
Mhm.
know that that's gonna happen. Then you have this card. It's like, oh, you wanted to play everything 1 mana. Well, I got you. Here you
Got
go.
you. Let's not.
Here you
Let's
go.
not do
Let's
that.
not play.
Let's not play.
I love it. I love this card.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's gonna make a splash on modern, especially on the Death and Taxes decks, and obviously human decks. Christopher, what do you think about this card?
I just want to figure out ways to make it as annoying as possible. Like, I don't know, start trying to copy it or something and Bant and just make copies of it.
Cancerous piece
Love
of
it.
Name
crap.
one, name two, name three, name four. Nobody can cast any non-creature spells.
How about I break your cards? That'd be fun, right? That'd be great.
If
So it
Forengo
says
is saying break your cards, I know I'm doing something right.
so.
Yeah.
There's going to be 42 new to modern reprints from Magic's past, and each draft is set boosters. So obviously this is one of them, and the other one is, drum roll please, counter spell
In modern, spicy.
Yay! It took them
Yeah.
1,000 years to do so, but I'm glad. I'm so happy. They're
I
putting
finally have
Counterspell.
use for all those copies of Counterspell that I'm buying because they have pretty art.
If you knew
Exactly.
how many counter spells I own,
It's
you would
insane.
laugh at me.
It's disgusting.
And
Honestly, you could say 100 and I would be like, oh, that's it.
No, I wish I had 100, but I do have so many different artworks. And that full art one, oh, I need it so bad.
Yes.
But anyways,
it's amazing.
Fabiola, what do you think about having counterspell in modern?
No.
Why?
No,
That just about
no.
sums up everything about it. Yeah.
Why not? I mean, modern has had Lightning Bolt, Birds of Paradise. They've had pretty iconic spells. Why not have counterspell finally?
Okay, we're not gonna go with the difference between not letting you even put something on the field versus, well, I let you put it, let me see if I destroy it. You just negate it. You just say no, don't play. So
But we already had Mana Leak, and Mana Leak kind of did the same thing in the early turns. This is just hard countering. For 2 mana.
I'm glad that
I mean,
you
I
said it.
especially
Hard
like the fact
countering.
that Counterspell is double blue
I agree.
and has no downside because, the downside is the fact that it is double blue.
Double blue. Yeah. It's
Oh.
classic.
Which
Beautiful.
does kind of I guess you can say restrict on what kind of decks you can use it sometimes.
Yes, you're right.
But I don't know, Counterspell is just too strong. I enjoy it.
So,
I'm very conflicted about it because
Okay, you're
I do
conflicted.
like it,
Uh,
but
They're printing counterspell in modern. What they need to do is unban Splinter Twin.
Balance stuff out. I like that. I mean, they do
No.
need to. I'll be
Splinter
honest. They
Twin
do
would-
need.
Like Splinter Twin isn't like that card died for the sins of the Eldrazi.
I agree. I
But
mean, it will make it spicier in modern because right now no one's playing modern. Like we're excited for Modern Horizons, but it's not because we're good to play modern and get to play new cards in modern. We're mostly kind of excited because Commander stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
because of design philosophy that has changed throughout the years.
Yes.
Stuff that's used to say each target opponent or target player now says each opponent, and just targets more things. Thus, it's more applicable in Commander.
Mhm.
This will just create more cards that'll be even better in Commander.
I agree.
Because generally speaking, if I have a card that says deals 3 damage to each opponent, in Modern you only have 1 opponent, so
Yeah.
it's still fine.
Yeah.
But in Commander, it actually does affect.
Yeah.
Would be interesting.
It will be interesting. As you can see, they have the normal uncommon version, but there's also a cooler borderless version that can appear in the same spot instead to show off in its format debut. Now, interesting enough, they say that I do not know if they're actually implying that if you open like a draft booster box or a set booster box, instead of getting this uncommon, you would get the rare version of it. And it also begs the question if there's going to be a selection of borderless different art cards just like those that they did, for example, in Double Masters, where if you remember, they had the normal version of the card and they had the borderless version, because I'm seeing that counterspell and it's at a rare. So I don't know if there's going to be a small cycle of alternate cards that would appear in your draft booster or your set booster that might be alternate variations of, commons and uncommons. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
But see, I feel like that will be
interesting, but I also feel like hurt that I'm getting like an uncommon and what's supposed to be a rare slot,
No. It would replace your uncommon slot. From what it says here, I don't know how true that is.
In the what's it called? The collector's
in the article. No, in the article it says we even added a cooler borderless version that can appear in the same spot instead to show off in its format debut. So it says here theoretically it should replace it in the uncommon slot. Theoretically, I don't know how true that is, but we'll see.
This is. I'll put a pin on this.
Oh yeah,
I'll come back to this later.
We'll see. Okay, cool. Well, let's move on then.
I'm excited.
They also introduce new cards, and I'm gonna gush a little bit about this card first because it's Ursa's freaking Saga. And I saw that and I thought it was fake because I didn't see this version. I saw the sketch version, which we're gonna show because of down below, and I thought it was super fake. When I saw this, first of all, guys, it's an Enchantment Land Saga. It's something we've never seen before. Yeah, because we never seen an Enchantment Land, and we never seen a land saga. It's very brand new and confusing. It's based obviously on a very iconic set that we all care, love, and it features one of my best boys, Urza. And I'm just gonna read off the ability because it has 3 different abilities, obviously as any normal saga would. Oh, some of them have 4, but in general, this one has 3. The first lore says Ursa's Saga gains tap to add 1 colorless. It gains it. So that means that for the 3 turns it's going to be there, you can tap it for colorless. And it's not a thing that it's like in this turn you do have the tap for add mana, and then the other turns you do not. It gets imprinted on this card that you can tap it for colorless. Its second what do you call it? Chapter. Ursa's Saga gains pay 2 colorless, tap it to create basically a construct. Create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gains +1/+1 for each artifact creature you control. The final ability, and I feel like that's obviously the thing that makes it extremely broken. Search your library for an artifact card with mana cost 0 or 1 and put it into the battlefield. Then
find it interesting to use mana cost instead of mana value. Yeah.
But that's very specific, and I think it's for a reason, because that would imply that you can get other stuff.
Because mana value would imply stuff like Lotus Bloom and Mox Tantalite.
And that's what they wanted to avoid.
Mana cost does not.
Exactly.
But
I think that's wanted to avoid, to not make it too broken.
Does it mean that these are like 2 separate terms now? Like mana value and mana cost?
They are.
You're joking. I actually didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
I thought that it just substituted the term.
I thought the same until I think Saffron Olive's video.
In
Arena, they've errataed everything. Everything just says mana value.
Because mana value substitutes the word converted mana cost.
Exactly.
Oh.
Now mana cost and converted mana cost. There's little discrepancy between those. Because remember, X-Spells, the technical mana cost of an X-Spell is the colored mana next to the X, but the converted mana cost on the stack would be the total mana, and that would be the mana value that is right now.
Yeah, and it's confusing. I know it's confusing, but it will be easier to understand as we move on, because obviously it's a new term. I got confused as well when I saw that. I'm like, okay, Lotus Petal, Max Tantalite, I'm going to go nuts. And then it's like, nope, that's not the same, because it's not mana value, it's mana cost. It literally has to have the cost in the card. If not, you can't play it. But still, it's pretty broken. You can get Expedition Map. You can get...
I want one. I want the one in Osgear as fast as possible.
I want to get one for Urza, obviously. I mean,
We,
this
we,
one's.
we all want one. That's
I
the
feel.
whole
I
point.
feel like I feel like it's very good because obviously, at worst, you can get a Soul Ring, you can get a Mana Bolt, you can get a Mana Drain, like at worst, but you can still get like one costed artifacts that are pretty good.
Altar of the Brood to make sure your combo starts going off soon enough.
Exactly. So you have some alternatives in this card. I don't think it's gonna be like a super staple in everything. In terms of
I'm not
commander.
expecting it to be expensive either.
Oh no, definitely it's not. Fayela, you haven't talked. What do you think about Ursa Saga? Please don't say no.
No, I wasn't gonna say that.
Okay.
I just find it very intriguing, the enchantment land part.
Yeah.
I just see it as a tutor at the end of the day.
Yeah. Really
That's
powerful.
it. And it's like, it doesn't cost, it's a 0 cost tutor. So for me it's like, oh, perfect.
Do you not think it's interesting that the idea of an enchantment land is a thing now, considering you have an enchantment deck and what that could bring into the future?
Well, I don't run artifacts.
No.
Yeah,
I mean the
like,
enchantment
the
land.
concept.
The concept of an enchantment land. What do
Oh,
you think about that? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, please more though to pump my Tuvasa.
JP, ask me if correct me if I'm wrong. If they would print, let's go nuts here for a sec. If they would print, like they did with those dual colored snowlands, and they're called snowlands. What if they did a cycle of dual colored enchantment lands? They come in tap, they do nothing. But if those things,
you only have them for 3 turns if it's a saga.
but what if it's not a saga? If it's literally just those uncommon ones that we saw in Kaldheim, but literally instead of having snowlands, it's an enchantment land.
Jesus.
What do you think the repercussions would be if you have a deck with Constellation, for example? Would it not be broken as hell?
Of course.
Constellation
Does the
itself
Constellation
isn't
require
broken.
casting?
No, Constellation isn't just an enter the battlefield trigger.
Okay, good.
So yeah, it would work with enchantment lands. I don't feel like the only strong, like there's not enough powerful constellation effects to warrant on nerf. But also like the repercussion is like if it's an uncommon that it enters tapped, then fine. If it would be a rare, then how would it enter? Like a condition to make it enter untapped. How would that work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating because the idea of an enchantment land, I've never thought about it. But why not? I mean, they have
There's
artifact
artifact
lands.
lands, yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So why not have enchantment lands? And that's great. And so I think this is opening the possibility of them moving forward eventually in a probably in a standard set or something to include enchantment lands that are not actual sagas, just normal enchantment lands. So it'll be interesting what they would bring to the table in terms of the cards that exist, mechanics that existed before, like for example, constellations or the enchantresses. Because if you have an enchantress, just play a land, draw a card.
Yep.
And if you have like a weird Bant deck where you can just play multiple lands, just be like, play a land, draw a card, play a land, draw a card. I drew on my deck.
You get pumped for every enchantment on the field. No,
yeah, it's just something ridiculous like that. Exactly. So it'll be interesting what they do with the concept of an enchantment land. So let's keep going. They have the sketch version, which when I saw it, that's why I thought it was fakey. I didn't think it was real because it sounded so amazing to me that I was like, this can't be real. But yeah, it is. It is super real. So that's kind of it for them. They did spoil 2 other cards, and I thought it was going to be in the article. They did spoil Diamond Lion, which I'm sorry I don't have the picture. I thought it was here. But the Diamond Lion is a 2-costed artifact creature it's a 2/2. It taps and basically does Lion's Eye Diamond. You discard your hand, and you get to sacrifice it, and then you get to put 3 mana of any one color, into your mana pool, and you can only activate this as an instant. It's very specific in the Diamond Lion. Again, I don't have the picture, but you know the card. Christopher,
one of the reasons they make this specific distinction is because this is technically, like, because of the wording, is technically not a mana ability.
Exactly. It's technically not a mana ability. It has to wait a turn. It has summoning sickness. Because you're right, it would be then a mana ability, and then it would just be a whole different bag of worms.
But summoning sickness doesn't affect like something like the mana ability part wouldn't affect something like Llanowar Elves.
True.
Tapping for mana is not inherent to
Yeah. They want to specify that it's an ability instead of saying it's a mana ability. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, it's an ability
Exactly.
because Lion's Eye Diamond, the actual like the
Lion's Eye
one,
Diamond. Yeah.
it's the same ability, but it's a 0 cost artifact.
Yep.
That one, the errata has the same wording.
Yeah.
To specify, it is not a mana ability.
Exactly. So Christopher, then, what do you think about Diamond Lion?
Well, for starters, Diamond Lion lets me do more shenanigans in my Joyra deck, so I need it. And again, it's pretty clear that it's trying to basically do the same thing as Lion's Eye Diamond, but at a considerably cheaper price point, so I'm all for it.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I just wish that Wizards had a bit more options to do this with some of the reserved list cards, but unfortunately, that's never going to happen.
No, they're just printing like basically nerfed or retooled versions of older cards, so it can be kind of playable in modern. I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to be too played in modern because of the fact that it's a creature.
For Commander, this is going to be great. Though.
Oh, that's
what that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking like I'm playing Joyra and I can have a Diamond Lion in my deck. I can just haste it with some other like
I agree.
creature or anything that I have. Like,
that's when it's going to get interesting. Or like if it's a Lurrus deck, it might have potential there. But the problem is at a 2-cost 2/2, and you just bolt it, and then it's like, oh, I guess I'm out of a combo.
But I guess I just tap Osgear and make 2 more copies.
Oh, sure, but we're talking Commander. But I'm talking for modern purposes. I don't think it's gonna do much. It's an interesting card, obviously.
I think the combination of like the Diamond Lion and Lurrus is specifically too slow.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, it's the idea of like replayability and having that card be reusable. Fabiola, what do you think about Diamond Lion?
Well, at first, I when I read the name, I was like, "Oh my god, did they actually reprint it? What the heck?" I lost it, but then I saw the card. I was like, "Oh, well,
no. Nerfed."
Yes, but like you said, in modern, nah. In any other format, nah. In Commander, someone's gonna find a way to abuse this.
Yeah, of course.
To make millions of copies and abuse this.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Again, for Commander, love it. Can't wait to see what people do with it.
Then speaking of weird reprints of older cards for modern format, we have Brainstone, not Brainstorm, Brainstone. It is an artifact that costs 1 and it reads, pay 2, tap it, sacrifice Brainstone, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards in your hand on top of your library in any order. Basically a pretty nerfed version of Brainstorm.
If it were 1 mana to activate.
But that'd be kind of insane, not gonna lie. Fabiola, what do you think about Brainstone for modern?
Cast for 0, activate for 1. That's what we should have had.
Jesus.
What I think is Wizards, stop doing puns to make us feel better that you're not reprinting stuff. I don't like it and I don't appreciate it.
I love
it. I mean, it looks fun. Since it's an artifact, I want to know how that's gonna affect. Because now Brainstorm is blue, but now this can go anywhere.
It has replayability if you have recursion, like an Emery deck or something. You could keep like getting it.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it in Commander. That's a no.
Yeah.
But since it's an artifact and it's colorless, I feel that now people can have that effect in other colors, and that's going to be interesting to see. It doesn't matter what format. But in Commander, ew.
Christopher, what do you think about Brainstone?
I don't know, man. It's like the only thing I could be constantly thinking of is just that Wizards got to be a bunch of stoners. What do you mean talking about Brainstone? We all know what's going on up there, Wizards. That's why your R&D team isn't doing good enough work.
Damn.
I like it. And if you look at the art, I see what you mean.
No, I love the art though. No, the art is like super trippy, and I'm like actually super into it. I'm like trying to figure out exactly what's going on in that art because it seems like it's like a bunch of faces kind of like melded together.
Yeah, like a
I really do like it. I do
like a brainstorm. Like I don't know. JP, what do you think about Brainstone being in modern?
I actually don't feel like it's gonna be that good.
No.
Yeah.
So as someone who plays who knows the power of Brainstorm, you need a proper shuffle effect to make it good. because otherwise you're just gonna draw two. It's like if you draw 3 cards and put 2 on the top, unless you really needed those 2 cards on the top, you're just gonna be drawing blank for 2 turns.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Brainstorm.
Yeah.
That you need to shuffle them away to draw something fresh, something new, something probably better.
Yep.
So that was like by itself, because it is 1 mana and 2 to activate, then it's just not gonna be that good. I will be surprised if it's even playable in a deck.
Yeah, it's strictly worth.
That's why I mentioned 1 mana and then 1 mana to activate, because even then you still need a shuffle effect to make Brainstorm good, and Brainstorm would be 1 less mana.
I think that they were afraid of having a reworked Brainstorm in Modern. So I think that's why they did it the way they did it. I don't agree with the mana cost.
Imagine having like reworked Brainstorm and on top of that having like a counter spell in Modern too. I mean,
I guess so, but this obviously implies that they're not putting Brainstorm in Modern for a very, very, very long time. That's like the first thing, if ever. Which is funny considering the fact that they put it in Historic. But let's not talk about that. It's just interesting, but I understand why it's in Historic, because obviously there's no shuffle effects beyond Fabled Passage.
Yeah.
But there's really no shuffle effects. Obviously here we have a gazillion fetch lands, so obviously it could be very easily abusable if we had actual Brainstorm in Modern. But having this, and I mean, I just wish it could have been like 1 mana to sack it, not 2. 2 is too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it would have been 1.
Either have it be 2 mana to play and then tap to sacrifice, and that's it.
Agree.
Or 1 and 1.
Yes.
But as 3 mana total, it's
too
just
much.
It's a 3 mana Brainstorm, which like anyone can play, but without a shuffle effect. Again, it by itself, it just isn't it.
No,
like it's just not worth.
No, I'm gonna I probably get 1 copy for an Emery deck or for a Urza deck, because you can abuse that, and that's pretty abusable there. But beyond that, you're right. In Modern, I do not feel at all that it would have any impact at all.
Yes.
So, going back, I think we covered all the Magic. Oh no, we're spoiling so much. The Modern Horizon stuff.
We did not go over the Forgotten Realms. We're
going there.
Okay.
Oh, what is that? Oh, look, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, Dungeons and Dragons, the Magic the Gathering new set that comes out in July 23.
So as I said at the beginning, when I thought the first thing was going to be the Dungeons and Dragons thing, this is not coming for 2 months. But obviously, WotC couldn't hold themselves. They wanted to spoil you, give a little preview of what's to come in the Dungeons and Dragons Adventures of the Forgotten Realms set. I am not a Dungeons and Dragons expert. I know JP is, I know Chris, and I know Fabiola are. So you guys will help me with the lore stuff that you might encounter in these cards as we go through with them. First of all,
I like how their art choice for that preview is Tiamat, and then the worst class in Dungeons and Dragons, but
which is the worst class? I don't.
The Ranger, unfortunately.
I mean, in 5th edition.
Okay.
And even then, it's arguable.
Okay.
Exactly, because I feel like even in 3rd, he's just kind of super nerfed. And
no. I'm like Ranger being the worst class is arguable.
Oh, okay.
Only Beastmaster is the worst subclass. It's just actually bad, but.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what they put on the art, though. It is a Drow Beastmaster, is it not?
That just happens to be the worst. One of the worst classes, arguably, with the absolute worst subclass.
Oh, okay.
Hands down.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But...
As someone who played up to level 12, up to level 15 Beastmaster Ranger, I should know.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you can see from the schedule here, in June 29th, the previews are going to begin. In July, it will be available on MTG Arena and Magic Online, because as they've been doing in the past couple of standard sets, it comes 1 week before an arena, and then it comes in paper 1 week later, or 2 weeks later sometimes. July 16th to the 18th, we're going to have a webcam pre-release that you can play through Spell Table Beta, which is kind of cool if you can't go to your in-store to play. And you also have a pre-release week from the 16th to the 22nd, including in-store play where available. And on the 23rd, we'll have our worldwide release. Now, let's start with the basic lands, which I think are fascinating.
Yes.
And I know that people like Christopher, which I'm going to start with you, really value a lot of flavor texts. And I'm pretty sure we've never had basic lands with flavor text before. So this is like a breath of fresh air. It tells a little story. And what do you think, Christopher?
Read it in your Dungeons and Dragons voice, as a DM.
Right, you should do it as a DM.
Yes.
Oh.
All right, so we got your basic planes with your first line of flavor text over here saying, "Venturing beneath the
Desert.
I did. Hold up.
Yeah.
Venturing beneath the desert sands, you've discovered an alien power pulsing with inconceivable energy."
I dig it.
I have no idea what that is, and I'm excited. I do not know enough about the Forgotten Realms. I only know, from the few settings I've played. And considering that we have, a sun inside of a cavern, I usually remember the Underdark being a pretty dark place, which is kind of like the stereotype, because I do know there are other things around in the Underdark that aren't really talked about. Mm-hmm. But I'm used to, every time they talk about the Underdark, which is where I assume the art of this card takes place, you tend to have something that looks more like the swamp over there, where it's like a really dark setting. It's like all gloomy and everything is dark because everything in the Underdark can see in the frickin' dark. And having something that resembles a sun down there with like a city, that I find really interesting. I want to find out more now. Now they've got me. They've got me. They've got me looking up stuff. Okay, never mind. So we got our island over here. Alarmed by the news you brought, the storm giant king of the Maelstrom has called his king to council. I find that really cool. I mean, I find the whole thing cool as hell, but again, I have no idea what's going on in that art. I'm just trying to take a good look at it. I'm not sure if it takes place underwater, or if that's just the particles from the wind. We're definitely gonna have to wait until that thing actually comes out so I can get a better look at that art. But it is beautiful. The swamp. You expected to meet hostile drow in this ancient ruin. I was gonna say druin. That's great. But they fled long ago. What darkness could have driven them out? I say it was a lich, or an ancient cult.
Okay.
That'd be great. There's always liches and ancient cults in D&D. You can't have a good old D&D adventure without some weird culty shit walking around.
Yeah.
The mountain. As you make camp for the near ancient ruin, you hear the sound of drums echoing in the halls where no dwarf has lived for generations. I like that so far all of the texts have been really what's that word? I guess foreboding.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be I put down a land. This is I put down my land. This is the moment of tension before something happens. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it has a really good feeling in terms of how you carry on a D&D story and how a game of Magic flows, because I was saying, you put down a land and now you're just waiting. Okay, so he put down a land, what is he going to do now? And that flavor text just kind of has that same feeling, this is what you see, what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
Then we have the forest. Before the elf queen will aid you, you must find your way to cure the strange rot afflicting the roots of the ancient forest. So here we're actually given a quest in the forest. I like that.
Ooh, yeah.
One thing that I didn't notice though is that in all of these flavor texts, you don't have any quotation marks, or you don't have anything that's usually when you see the flavor text, you'll have it's someone speaking in third person of oh, this is the place you see. Look at it. It's so pretty. But it's usually coming from a character. You'll have a little line that says, oh, X person said this. There are a lot of exceptions to that, and which is just a flavor text similar to what you'll have on one of these lands, but just on any other card. But there's always kind of a sense of a character speaking to another character, rather than here.
It's just the DM.
Yeah, it's DM descriptions rather than
literally how you would describe something as a DM.
Yeah,
exactly.
What I like is that there's 4 of each basic land, and each one has
Yeah.
its own
Little
story,
yeah,
little story prompt.
Mhm.
which is
That's
very
really
cool.
nice.
Yeah,
I also
it's
think
very
that it's
flavorful.
something that Wizards, up to a certain point, should have done. Like, I'm glad they saved it for this set, but I think it's something they should have done a long time ago. Like, every year they've gone like they've like printed less and less on land cards,
Mhm.
and like I always thought to myself, wouldn't it be so cool to just have like all of this empty space covered with some flavor text, and we finally got it, and I'm really happy about it.
I mean, we're getting the rules text lands, so you're getting all your text, all the text that you want, buddy, all the text that you want
Yeah,
in one little card.
I was so excited for those cards until things happened. But you know, if you guys want to know why we're angry about it, go back a podcast or two, and you'll find
Yeah,
out.
exactly. You'll find out. Fabiola, what do you think about the usage of flavor text and lands, and are you going to buy them? Because I know you will.
I'm gonna buy each and every one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played specifically this in D&D. I always am more of brewing, you know.
Mhm.
But I love it, and I just hope that each and every card in this set has like 3-liners flavor text. You know, that you put down whatever creature, and it's like talking into a person, or says the name of the creature, goes here, or likes to do this, or is walking around trying to find this in his path. I would become like Yu-Gi-Oh and will just be speaking everything that I summon. I would be doing that. I will construct a story in front of you.
It's beautiful.
Ooh, of Ortho's EDH deck, something very
Yeah.
flavorful with a story.
Yes.
That'd be very cool. I think that these flavor texts could be an indication of maybe a mechanic that might be here, a DM type of mechanic. I don't know, like a type of adventure, if you will. Now, I don't think it will be strictly adventure, because I think they might have realized that the adventure mechanic, which would have been excellent here because it's literally the best flavor you could have had it. But I think they're not going to do it, or if they do, they're going to be very conscious about it.
I mean,
I don't think they're going to be
imagine
very
if
conscious about
Standard
it.
continues
Okay.
having like adventure mechanic and foretold in the same like
Yes, because because
Beautiful.
they develop sets forward in time by around 1, 2, maybe 3 years.
True, I guess.
So
but
if they developed Eldraine and they couldn't foretell how strong Eldraine is, then if they just use the adventure mechanic here, it could be like, maybe they could be conscious about it, but
But it'll be here. It'll be here. Like it should be here. I know that venture mechanic has been the bane of Standard's existence for 2 years.
it's
But
really
honestly-
mechanic.
more like the
Is it-
help. I mean, it's honestly, to me at least, and this is just a really personal thing, I think it's helped the format a lot in the feeling that it has right now, which I enjoy. I gotta say, I do enjoy the way Standard feels right now.
The thing is that it's a lot of cards that are overused, and because they're so strong, you can't use anything else as a result. That's the
Yeah,
only problem that
basically
adventure
the-
has.
as
Bone
long as the
Crusher
power
giant.
level,
Yeah.
power level is average length. Because
Yeah,
the actual mechanic is a good mechanic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for more adventure, which I believe should be here. Party should definitely.
Party
be
should
here.
be here too.
Yeah.
And then Foretell should definitely be here. And of course, they're
Foretell?
probably gonna. I mean, no, Foretell. No, it's too recent. I don't know what else. Maybe awesome evergreen stuff.
It has
They
to be
bring-
something old. I feel like they're gonna bring something old. What? I
Yes.
don't know.
I agree. They're
I'm
gonna
just
definitely
really
bring something
hoping.
old.
I'm just really hoping that
Mhm.
they do stick to the party mechanic,
Oh, yeah.
because again, both of those mechanics,
Mhm.
adventure and party, play perfectly into the set.
Yes.
If I had to choose, I would personally choose the party mechanic, not because the party mechanic is better, but because I feel like
It has more potential.
it has more potential. Yeah,
I agree.
it's just, I don't know. I really would like to see like Wizards make something more of that party mechanic, and a lot of the mechanics that they've used in recent sets, going all the way back to freaking Theros too, because
Mhm.
and even the stuff in Eldraine. I mean, Eldraine is just hella powerful, so I'm like, I am like afraid of some of those mechanics.
Yeah.
But at least I don't know. At the very least, I just want to see one mechanic back, please. Just give me one back, Wizards. Any of them, any of the stuff that you've printed in recent sets. Just
What would be
tell
one
me
from
that you're
old
gonna
times?
follow up.
¿Qué pasó? What do you say?
What would be one for mechanic that would fit here, but it's a really old mechanic?
Yeah,
Really
that's what I'm
old
thinking.
A really old one that would fit flavorful, because it has to be flavorful. Because I feel like they're gonna do it. I just feel like they're gonna bring an old mechanic back. I don't know why.
While we think of older mechanics, I think they're gonna bring sagas here because they tell a story. They might have a few sagas included here because
That
of the
could
fact
be a
that
thing.
that could be a thing.
Yeah, I
Because
feel like
they tell a story.
sagas usually come up in sets where there's like a lot of old lore involved, kind of like they did in Kaldheim. There was like a bunch of old lore that we didn't have time to explain, so let's put some like sagas in here so you get an idea of what's going on.
And
I
Wizards
think
has
Forgotten
admitted
Realms is definitely the place to do so, considering that all of the lore and all of the content around Forgotten Realms is so rich. Like,
I agree.
For once, and it pains me to like even know that these words are coming out of my mouth, but I'm like excited for what they might come up with in Secret Lair based around the Forgotten Realms set if they do anything, and I hope they do.
I hope it's nothing egregious and horrible. I hope it's kind of
the
nice.
part that I'm worried about. Like, you know,
Yeah.
the little wizards whore in me is going like, oh yes, I hope they do something good, but you know that I'm thinking,
yeah,
what is good? Does good involve them not making enough money? Because if not, that means they're going to do something bad, and we're going to be sad.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. I hope they include stuff like party. I hope they include stuff like adventure. I don't know about old mechanics. I don't know if JP has pulled up a list or has any ideas of what cool old mechanics.
I was looking up, but no. All I saw is I saw an art we're gonna see further along, and I automatically I know what character it is, so it's obviously getting a card.
Okay.
I'll say it in a bit.
Okay. Well, let's move on then. I'm sorry, we are too stupid. We can't think of a old mechanic. But I'm pretty sure you're definitely right. They're going to include an old mechanic because they did it with Dominaria. I think Dominaria had the kicker mechanic.
Yeah.
I feel like I was a bit lackluster. Considering
for sure. Yeah. You're right.
Like the cards they printed in the kicker mechanic, even though I feel kicker again is a mechanic that has a lot of potential, it just really fell flat.
Oh yeah, I've never liked kicker too much, and those cards didn't inspire too much. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, definitely gonna print something old school. Okay, so they brought us like a couple of uncommons to talk about. I'm gonna start mentioning them. The first one is Portable Hole. It is an artifact that costs 1 white, and it reads: when Portable Hole enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value 2 or less until Portable Hole leaves the battlefield. Fabiola, what do you think about this broken card?
I mean, I feel that anything that targets basically everything is amazing. It's a good thing. Yeah. I mean, I find it fair, because it at least tells you 2 or less, and you just can't go crazy and do anything.
Yeah.
So
I think that even at 3 or less, it would have been hella powerful, and
it would have been too good if it had 3 or less. It would have been too good. Yeah, I don't know.
Like it at least try to have some self-controlled. It costs 1 mana. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if the impact is gonna be strong in standard because Saffron Olive, when discussing this card, he did mention that a lot of the really powerful cards start at 3 mana, not at 2. So it might not be that good for now in standard, but stuff like modern, this is like basically an auto include if you have the colors and if you have the space for it. JP, what do you think about Portable Hole?
I don't think much of it actually.
Okay.
I was trying to think of a combo I could do. It's just random combo, like you need like 3 portable holes, and that by then it's just not.
Low.
It's just not bad.
Fair enough.
Just because I was just the Johnny in me was like, okay, you play Reckless Fireweaver. Whenever an artifact enters battlefield, you deal 1 damage. You play a portable hole, exiling another portable hole, or already had a portable hole, exile to it. So you start exiling all 3, and you make a loop for infinite damage. But like that's 3 portable holes, and it's not really viable. Like you're not gonna get all 3 in your hand that easily. Yeah. It was just trying to find a way to.
Hey, with enough card draw, you can do anything, JP.
Fair enough. Let's talk about the Doomblade. Power sword kill.
Power word
Power
kill.
word kill.
I am very disappointed that it's an uncommon.
Okay, you think it should have been a common then?
No, it should have been stronger and be a rare.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's talk about it. It's a
Mostly
colorless and a
for
black.
It's
colorless and
okay.
a black, for an instance. The search target non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, and non-dragon creature. Okay, JP, talk to me.
Power word kills a 9th level spell in Magic in Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
9th level spells are like the tippity top.
Okay.
It just kills you. If you're at 100 health or less, you're dead.
Okay.
No save, no nothing. You're just dead.
Mhm.
I feel like flavor wise, it could have been stronger,
Yes.
but otherwise, it's an actually decent card. How common are those 3 creature types?
4 creature types.
Four?
I don't know. Like probably the demon, the dragon, and maybe the angels could become a thing after rotation. Because there are some powerful angels and some potentially powerful dragons in this set, and in the previous set we had some really good dragons. So if it becomes a thing where these archetypes dominate, this card's going to be completely useless. Obviously, on the other
I
side,
think it's going to be a sideboard card, especially because mono white is playing Baneslayer Angel.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of the decks that are using dragons right now. There's the one with like the 3 mana sorcery. If you have like 4 of these in your graveyard, you can exile the other 4 and you search for a random dragon. That is seeing some play. It's not exactly like a popular archetype or anything, but that's seeing some play.
Yeah.
And then you also have like all of the other decks, one of them being mono red, but a lot of the other decks that are using the hasted like 5-cost dragon that puts down a treasure and then also doubles like the amount of mana that treasures give you.
Mhm.
They're basically using that as a finisher, and then there's like the other big dragon from M21. So I do think it's something that'll see some play, but probably much more in the sideboard than like main board.
it won't be
maybe
a heartless
like
act,
running-
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why would you play this over the cards that came out in Strixhaven?
I agree. That's
Like,
the only
just
it's the only
exile,
thing,
like 2, and there's several of them, like exile target and monocolored. There's the other one that just destroys that exiles and they get to draw a card. There's just so much better cards.
Yeah. And we have
I mean,
heartless
it's-
act unless
It's the
I
instant
rotate.
speed for me, I guess. That's the only thing.
Heartless
that-
Act is still there, yeah.
Yeah, heartless act still gonna exist, and heartless act for the most part is
A lot better.
pretty lot better.
The only problem I've personally had playing Dimir Rogues with Heartless Act is that there's a surprising amount of decks that will for no reason just put a 1/1 counter on a creature,
I see.
which definitely hurts you when you're trying to play Heartless Act. Wait, is it Heartless Act? The one that
Yeah,
either
Heartless Act.
removes counters? Yeah.
Or destroys creature. Yeah.
So, and it's really annoying because sometimes it's just a deck that puts a single +1/+1 counter on a creature you really have to get rid of, and you're just like, okay, well, I guess I'll die.
Yeah.
Because it has a single +1/+1 counter on it. This spell essentially becomes useless now. Great.
Yeah.
It's like a 7/7 with a 1/1 counter, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
guess I'll die.
I guess. Yeah. Fabiola, what do you think about power word kill?
I find it
It's
so
good.
specific that it's like there's other better things.
Okay.
Like when I read it, I was like, is this like some sort of prediction of what type of cards we're gonna see in the actual set?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's just
It is.
specific. I don't know. It's decent, but
Okay. Fair enough. So let's go to the Prosperous Innkeeper. It is a colorless and a green for a creature halfling citizen. It is a 1/1. When he enters the battlefield, it creates a treasure token, which you can sack it for mana. And then when another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. JP, how can you abuse this?
There was this deck like Dina Soulsteeper. I every single time I can mention her because she's actually a good. Like I saw this brew.
Mhm.
It was the Dina Soulsteeper. Whenever you gain a life, you deal. It's like each opponent loses 1 life.
Okay.
The actual brew was working, and it was just very simple. Using Strixhaven mechanics. It wasn't even using any expensive cards. So this even as a green ramp, 2 mana to ramp you to your 4 mana play on turn 3 is not bad. But the gaining life thing is mostly for that effect that I can remember in standard.
Yeah.
Regina Soul Steeper. Otherwise, it's just another way to gain life in green.
Christopher, what do you think?
I don't know. I enjoy the life gain. I enjoy the fact that it's like both. It gains you life, and it also like it gains you life in general. I can definitely use this in my token decks. I'm already excited about it. And on top of that, you have the added bonus of the treasure token, which I think can be really underestimated at times.
Yeah.
Especially in standard. I'm not sure if this might be a bit of a splash in standard, especially if you go for, well, I wouldn't say splash, but it's definitely playable in standard if you go for like what's that color combination called? I just forgot. Like Selesnya.
Mhm.
And then you have like a few cards like in white that really
about
take
gain life?
advantage. Yeah, exactly. That care
Exactly.
about gain life, especially the nerf to Johnny's Pride Mate. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Got that guy. So yeah, I mean, I think it can be used in like one or two archetypes that are running around in standard. But I'm not like super happy about this, other than the fact that I guess I can just use it in Commander. That's
Fair
not-
enough.
Another
Yeah.
interesting thing about the card is that it's a halfling.
Yeah.
So halflings are part of D&D, but there's another race in Magic the Gathering lore that's basically a halfling. Those were
Okay.
Kithkin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think
Okay.
they might errata them to be halflings now?
I would
No,
try.
No.
but
Okay.
but still, it's very interesting because before, like, you couldn't use the halfling term because it was. I'm not, even though it was the same company. I'm not sure if there was legal problems.
Mhm.
So
I see what you mean.
it was
Fela, what do
basically,
you?
it was like Kithkins are basically halflings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fela, what do you think about the prosperous innkeeper?
I mean, it's a green card being more green. It's
Yeah.
it's something that I mean, classic green color. However,
Yeah.
when I read this card, I was like, this is so flavorful what it does. It's a
Oh, yeah.
greenkeeper, it gives you a treasure, it gains you life. I'm
Mhm.
like, it's beautiful.
It is.
But other than that, it's like I'm sad that it doesn't have an actual flavor text. This should, I know it has a lot of stuff, maybe it wasn't
Yeah.
gonna fit, but flavor text, yes.
Yeah.
But other
Uh,
than that, is just a green card being green, and
Mhm.
maybe just
Other-
use it if you need it.
Kind of reminds me of an interesting design space of making a 1-mana 1/1 that enters the battlefield and creates a treasure token for because
Gilded Goose.
the mix of food token, but then you have to tap it to sacrifice for mana. But like 1-mana 1/1
Sure.
enters battlefield, creates a treasure token. That's all it does.
Yeah.
Be interesting, like as a design space for standard, since it's only a one-time activation for
One-time ramp as opposed to consistent
one-time ramp. It could be even the same turn, because it could be like you could go for a one drop on the same turn.
Yeah.
But it does nothing else.
Mhm.
So because it's one-time ramp seems very safe in standard.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, as you know, toss a coal into your wisher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty, oh. Tiamat. It is a beautiful card that I believe is in actual D&D lore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Definitely is.
So, Tiamat. It is 2 colorless and Warburg. For a legendary creature, Dragon God. It has flying, obviously. It is a 7/7, and it reads, when Tiamat enters the battlefield, you casted it, search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and then shuffle. Flavor text, my children will rule over all. Fabiola, what do you think about having this iconic card in Magic?
I mean, it's a dragon tutor. That's all I can say. I mean, it's a dragon tutor.
Okay.
Dragon Tutor for 7.
Dragon tutor for 7.
That looks
I've
for
seen people
5
ramp.
dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've seen people ramp in 5 colors and dragons, but
Okay.
that's about it.
Christopher, what do you think about having this card and the flavor, what it implies?
I am just very sad
Mhm.
that those dragons don't go to the battlefield.
Yep.
Oh, God.
You want to be OP, of course.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
But now what I'm thinking, like, considering all of the cards that we've seen so far, which aren't a terrible lot, yes, I know. But considering the cards we've seen so far, what I'm asking myself is this going to be I'm just going to give you the lore of this plane and teach you how pretty it is set, or are we actually going to have an involved Magic the Gathering story set in the Forgotten Realms? At least from what I'm getting so far, I feel like even this early on, Wizards would have already told us, like, oh yes, like what's her face, like Kaya is going to the Forgotten Realms, and we didn't get any of that. So I am assuming that this is literally just going to be like a one-off, like, hey, this is like the plane of the Forgotten Realms in the Magic universe, congratulations, and we're done here, which makes me a little sad, because I really did want, like, I really did enjoy the prospect of having like an actual crossover in between the Magic universe and the Forgotten Realms. I still have a little bit of hope. Spoiler season hasn't started like officially yet.
Yeah.
But that's at least what I can get so far, at least from, like, I suppose reading the flavor text, because I don't know, I feel like when there's like a story in a Magic set, there tends to be like this certain, like, I guess you can say, coherence to the flavor text, and you can just kind of tell. Because, for example, if you had like if Tiamat was involved in the story, Tiamat would definitely be like the big bad guy that everybody has to take down.
Yeah,
because Tiamat, usually when you hear the mention of Tiamat, does it like rarely not come accompanied by the end of the world because of dragons?
of course.
So I don't know. I was hoping for a D&D adventure, for a Wizards adventure set, like a Magic adventure set in the Forgotten Realms, but so far that doesn't seem to be the case, and we'll be on standby to see what happens.
Okay, that's a fair argument regarding this set, because it doesn't seem to, at first glance, it doesn't seem to be more of a crossover. It seems to be like they're trying to be very flavorful to what D&D is, and they just want to have that in a set, and that's it. So you're right about that. JP, finally, what do you think about Tiamat?
I don't think nothing about her, except I want to see her counterpart, which is Bahamut. I have a prediction.
Okay.
It's like Tiamat is 2 and Wooborg, so that's all 5 colors. So Bahamut is a is like a chromatic dragon god. He's gonna be 7 colorless. 7/7.
Okay.
Dragon is like legendary creature dragon god. So he's gonna be like Bahamut for 7 colorless, 7/7 flying legendary creature dragon god, and he's gonna have a similar draconic flavored ability.
Wait, what if Bahamut turns other creatures into dragons? Makes them what are they called? Not dragonborn, dragonkin?
Dragonkin?
I'm not sure. But anyways, there's also the thought of if Tiamat is in this set and she references dragons, how many dragons are there going to be in this set? That'd be interesting to see at least a few.
Yeah, pretty sure we're going to have a few.
It would be kind of dumb to just have Tiamat in there and then just like not being able to play her at all in draft. Like,
I think, Chris,
she's playable in draft if you manage to get those colors, because she's still a flying 7/7.
I think in a set called Dungeons and Dragons, we're gonna have a lot of dungeons and a lot of dragons. So I think we're gonna have a few dragons here. They're probably gonna be very iconic, and they're gonna be probably like a little bit of lower tier dragons and stuff like that. So I don't think
that's kind of the part I'm worried about, though. Like, I haven't seen like any dragons like in recent Magic sets. I haven't seen any dragons which I look at and I'm like, oh my god, I need this in my dragon archetype deck, which I don't have anymore. But point is, I haven't seen any dragons that I just look at and be like, oh no, I need this in my dragon deck, other than Tiamat, obviously, but she hasn't come out yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, this one is pretty good. I think this was an auto include in 5-color dragon decks for sure. Like, definitely, yeah. And I don't think it works as a commander, but for sure in the 99. And of course, they're showing you the extended border,
which I gotta say I love, because you can actually see the distinct shape of like the heads of each of the chromatic dragons. So for those of you who don't know,
chromatic,
like Tiamat is supposed to be just like this big red dragon body that is very intimidating, and then it has like the 5 heads of like the 5 chromatic dragons, which is red, blue, green, black, and white.
Yeah.
All 5 of these dragons have very distinct like body shapes. Like you can literally tell what dragon you're fighting. Like if you could only see in black and white,
Yeah.
you could tell what dragon you're fighting just by literally, in this case, that's really visible in the art, by the shape of their head. And I feel like this close-up does that really nicely, in which you can see the very distinct shapes of each dragon head.
I agree. Definitely. It looks very nice, very distinct. It reminds me, I know it's weird, but it reminds me of the five-headed 100 dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh, which is probably a reference to Tiamat también, because I remember when I was a child, I used to, when I was collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, that card was released, it was a 5-headed dragon, and it had different colors for each of the heads. And I'm pretty sure it was probably a reference to this. Finally, let's talk about the way they're going to do the frame treatments for this set, and they're including the Baleful Beholder, which I do not know what that is. If you guys can let me know what the hell a Baleful Beholder is.
It's just a beholder, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's just a
well,
very
that's gonna
ugly
be-
and powerful beholder.
Well, as you can see, that's going to be the frame, how it's going to look. I like it a lot. It looks like a little scroll, like a little page that you kind of like scribble a story on, which that's kind of cool, right? What do you think, Fabiola, of the frame treatment?
Exactly what you just said. I was
Yeah.
about to say, like, it looks like a little page, like a scroll.
Yeah, it looks very
Yeah,
nice.
I love it.
Yeah, the flavor
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Yeah,
JP, what do
and
you
the
think
image.
about the?
You can use this as a token.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can print it out. We can print it while they release the actual card, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like a weird
Yes.
creature. Yeah.
But
Beholder token.
I just want to talk about something afterwards
Okay.
with the box art cards.
Okay, sure. Christopher, what do you think about the treatment? I think it's very flavorful, but what do you think?
Yeah, I would like love it if they like renamed it something like, I don't know, rename it whatever the hell you want, but maybe like take like make it a reference to like Volos guide. I think it's Volos Guide to Everything, was it? Or am I confusing that with another one?
No. That's like
That's just
go down
Volos,
a bit.
right?
Go down a bit.
Okay, give me a second.
Just go
You're
down.
going
Not
down.
that art.
Okay.
Not that art. That art. That's Xanathar.
Okay, that's
No
sounds
way,
like-
really?
That's Xanathar. If you zoom into the art, because I literally zoomed into the art,
Okay.
you see him, and you see, because Xanathar has a goldfish,
Yes, I see that
and
under
that's
him.
that under him. Like if it were behind him, that's his goldfish. That's Xanathar.
Okay.
So that's
Oh,
a very
wow.
powerful. That's a very powerful and very meaningful character, and he happens to be a beholder.
It's Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and then Volos. What is it? Volos, like
Guide to
I
Monsters.
don't know. Guide to Monsters. There we go. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
But yeah, well, this is Xanathar. This is one of the things I mentioned earlier, that a prominent character. As soon as I saw the token, I saw Xanathar has to be a legendary creature, and he has its own card.
For sure.
He's like the leader of a guild, of a secret guild. Like, people aren't supposed to know that he's the leader, because happens to be a beholder, and
Okay.
those aren't as they don't happen to be good.
Okay. Well, as you can see, the box art, you have your draft booster, you have your set booster with the
I should have
one-eyed creature
expected it.
guy.
I should have expected it, but I kind of wasn't expecting mind flayers, and then I just noticed that there's like a mind flayer on the booster, and I'm very excited for this set, like even more now. Oh man, this is gonna this just might be Ixalan all over again.
For you, right?
Yeah,
I hope. Hopefully, the set won't be actual Ixalan.
no,
It actually
heck
is
no.
playable, but
Yeah,
Okay.
Right, you
This
get
is
that weird feeling that it's gonna appeal more to, hey, look at this. You remember this? Do you
Right.
like this? You like this
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
gameplay? I wouldn't
being
mind.
actual good.
I
I
would
mean, I wouldn't mind if it's
I
cool
just
for
want pictures.
Commander, because whatever. But I know that standard people will be literally infuriated if they have another set where it's so underpowered they don't want to play. Because I get that. I can understand that aspect, Here's the bundle, and here's the pre-release pack. Now, interesting that they said they're going to have a theme booster for each color, plus a 6 that we're excited to share more about later. So, JP, your theory about having Bahamut be a colorless dragon could pan out to be kind of true, because they were including a six color, quote unquote.
Purple.
if they include purple, if they make purple a thing in Magic at this day and age,
At this stage,
I'm gonna flip my shit.
Maybe they use the colorless symbol, the actual colorless symbol.
I think they're going to bring waste back. I think that's my theory-ish. Although they didn't show it over here, but having the 6 thing, or the 6 might be 5 color. It could be a 5 color thing. Could be a theme booster or 5 color. Because
Rainbow?
yeah, maybe it could be rainbow because there might be a lot of rainbow creatures. So there could be a possibility as well. So maybe we'll see. It's either going to be colorless or it's going to be full rainbow. But there's going to be theme boosters for it. And finally, they showed us the Buy a Box promo, which is Vorpal's Sword. It is an artifact equipment. I mean, I agree. But if you can pull it off, though, it's 1 black, and you get to equip it for 2 black. And the equipped creature has +2/+0 and has Death Touch. But if you pay 5 and you pay 3 black, until end of turn, Vorpal's Sword gains whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. As you can see, you have the normal version, the extended arch version, and if you buy a box, you'll have the buy a box promo.
So,
JP, cuéntame. Yeah.
A Vorpal Sword is a legendary sword.
Yes.
Why is it not a legendary artifact by then?
Okay.
It's already a buy a box, so might as well. Second thing, it gives +2/+0, and Vorpal Swords are +3 swords.
Oh, so even the flavor was a literal flavor fail.
They're failing.
Vorpal Swords are +3 swords, and why does it give +2/+0, not +3?
You know what? I'm kind of pissed off right now. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that. I was like reading the card, like, it seems pretty good.
I think they were just.
I do like that.
I think they were just afraid of like the whole like, oh, kill a player by touching him thing. But it's freaking 8 mana anyways.
Yeah,
I
it's 8 mana. It's ridiculous.
I would have liked it to be a colorless artifact.
Okay.
Not be
Yes.
black artifact.
That's the part that I find, I wouldn't say egregious, but I definitely like, why, man? Like,
I
there's
do
just
understand
no
the rest
point.
of the flavor though. Vorpal Sword is supposed to, you get whenever you roll a 20, you just kill whatever you're like. You either behead whatever you're attacking, or you deal 6d8 additional slashing damage, which is usually enough to kill most things.
Okay.
So you just either behead a thing or
deal enough damage to kill most things.
Exactly.
Yeah, got you.
But so I do understand the flavor of giving it Death Touch. That's nice, and just outright killing a player also makes 100%. Like, it makes so much sense.
Just wish it said +3.
Something very, 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 it would be really bad but really flavorful if it were like I don't know why I'm thinking like this, but like instead of 8 mana, make it 20 mana, and whenever you hit, you just win the game. You just win the match. Like, you just kill everyone. It's not that player loses the game. It's like you win the game. You kill everyone.
You know what makes me feel disappointed now? The fact that you mentioned what Vorpal Sword is, and the fact that you have to like roll, and if you roll a 20, you insta kill. I'm actually kind of upset that this shows you that they're not going to include D20 mechanics, which I thought they were actually going to do. I thought they were going to force you to play with a D20 in some regards.
I don't know that yet.
That is true, but if this
like,
is an indication,
bro, if they don't have it on the box topper, like, why,
right?
Like,
I agree.
If you didn't put it on the box topper, it's not going to be in the set.
Right.
That's what I think, at least. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong too.
I hope to Bahamut I'm wrong, but
I would love there be some like a roll a D4, roll a D6. And you know why it's a possibility? Because they printed Dungeon Master, and that was a planeswalker that was exclusive to Wizards employees, and it was released a few years ago. And you could roll a D20 and it will have different abilities. And also there was that sword, the Dungeons and Dragons sword, Swords of Dungeons and Dragons, which you could also roll to summon dragons, I believe.
Yeah,
which
if
was
you got
like,
a D20, you got a gold dragon.
So they've already toyed with the concept. So I hope that in the thing that I don't care about, which is flavor, it'd be very cool.
I think it would just be a mess in a competitive scenario.
Yeah,
that's my take on it.
I guess
that it'd be just a real pain in the ass. Like, Magic the Gathering in itself already has like a lot of like I guess you can say random factors that you have to deal with. You know, you have like to deal with like how you shuffle your deck, how many copies of a card you have in your deck, etc. All the
Fair.
millions of possibilities and combinations of not just your deck of cards, but your opponent's deck of cards and all these things. And then adding another like random element to it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it would have been good to add that kind of mechanic to cards that you just know aren't going to hit standard, I guess you can say.
Okay.
Like, for example, something like the Vorpal Sword, because who the hell is going to, well, I mean,
It's not bad.
but who the hell is,
It's not the
honestly
best,
though,
but it's not
honestly
bad.
though, who is going to play that in standard if you think about it? Because not
No,
only,
I'm pretty
Efron
sure there's
on
another
against the
artifact
odds.
that does similar thing.
That's gonna be the first video at MTG Goldfish on pre-release week. That
Against the
man
odds.
is going to play the Vorpal Sword. I know
And he
for a
will win.
fact.
you're not wrong, but do you even think that something like Vorpal Sword, for example, is actually going to make it into like any, you know,
I know he's
no.
gonna make it into something.
Yeah, he's gonna
Yes,
make. He's
like,
definitely gonna make something.
is it something that you can definitely build around?
No,
I mean,
no.
like en el sentido de que you can build around it to have fun. Of course you can. You can build around anything to have fun. That's the best part about Magic the Gathering.
Sure.
Which I think that a lot of people have lost sight of because of net decking, but let's not talk about that. We're gonna leave that for another occasion.
Okay.
But it's not something that's going to like make it into anything competitive, and I think that it'd be fun if they would have, for example, done that with the Vorpal Sword or with stuff that you know just isn't going to like make a huge impact on standard. Heck, just add something fun to it. I think it'd be great for draft. Imagine you got to sit here and complain all weekend about losing your draft because of some roll of the dice thing. I don't know. It's terrible and funny at the same time.
Fair enough. Fabiola, what do you think about Vorpal Sword?
I mean, I agree with the whole 20 mana roll. That would have been great. I mean, it's not that of a great card or anything. I get it. They're just reeling in the fans. They're really hey, you remember this? Remember?
Member. It's gonna be a lot of member.
It feels like a trash rare slot. Pero like,
it is a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's good for the people who like the flavor, who know the Vorpal Sword, which I didn't know was a thing. But I'm just gonna go ahead and assume from now on, any equipment, any weird card that I see on D&D is actually based on D&D on some regards. So,
finally, especially like when you go up and you go back to the portable hole, like there is an actual like item in D&D that's portable hole, and it's great.
So
it's great.
Going back to that, we can assume like the very iconic spells. We're gonna get a wish card, a card that just says wish.
Okay.
But is it going to be underwhelming though? Because
wish, but we have wish mechanics. It's just look for something in your sideboard.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, like I don't know. I feel like
they're gonna
2 mana. Look for something in your sideboard. Wish.
Yeah, that's OP.
Yes. 2 mana search for anything
in your sideboard.
That's hella OP.
Wish is the strongest spell in the game. You can literally just break the game with that spell.
Yeah, you're gonna break standard with that card.
I don't know why you said that, and I'm thinking, oh man, like
3 mana.
If they bring miracle mechanic back because you're playing D&D and you're like,
that's
my God,
already better than Fae of Wishes, dude.
Nah, that's already literally better than Fae of Wishes. That's true.
Yeah,
but it's not a creature and not repeatable.
I suppose that is true.
But having it 2 mana, I think 3 mana is fair.
3
2 mana would be a little too much.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to obviously have a secret layer with the the D&D, and basically the last thing we're going to talk about is how you're going to support your local game store as part of the incentive for you to go back to play Paper Magic. Finally, JP, we're going to be talking about this. Yeah. They're going to give you starting June 18th, whenever you purchase 50 or more in sealed Magic products in your local game store, they will give you a free foiled retro frame of Fable Passage.
Yay.
I think it's fantastic. I love the fact that Fable Passage is the premier fetch land of choice in Standard. I feel it's very balanced. It's very good for the game.
Yes.
It's been the best way to have a fetch land in Standard and be able to fix to some degree, your mana base as you're playing without being too overpowering. And I'm glad that Fable Passage keeps getting reprinted, so it keeps lowering the price because right now it's like a $10 card. So it keeps creeping up even though they keep reprinting it because it's really good and really usable. Even in like Commander, it's a really good card. Fabiola, what do you think about having this promo as an incentive for you to go to your LGS to buy paper product?
I mean, I feel it's like the perfect one they could have chosen because everybody uses it. So
Yeah.
everybody's incentivized to go and get it. It's something that is so heavily used no matter what. And people are going to like the different customization to it that it was the perfect choice. And that art, I'm
Right?
going.
Right? The
Yes.
ink foil, old border. Yummy.
Like right now, they're throwing so much old border stuff that I'm like, am I gonna be able to eventually make a deck that is just
Right?
old? Like that's
Yeah.
the dream, but
That's the dream. Yeah.
I don't know. Still far.
Getting some nice little reserve cards, reserve list cards, and then having your new cards, mixing and matching them, just having a nice little Gaia's cradle in your deck. You
That's
know,
not what I
Bring back
meant.
white
Yeah,
border.
right? Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
Bring
I
it.
agree.
Bring it back.
100%.
Yes.
That'll be the next level of nostalgia. When they get
Oh,
tired
can
of
you-
this border, they're gonna do the white border for sure.
Mhm.
For sure.
White
love
border
white
secret
border.
layer.
Oh Oh my god, that would be so hilarious.
It's so bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's so bittersweet. Like I want white border back, but don't do it like this.
No, definitely not. JP, what do you think about Fatal Passage being a
I love
promo?
it. I love
Yeah,
it.
right?
I love it. I love it.
Great incentive.
Exactly. Just buying two pre-release packs, and you get and you get that as well.
Mhm.
$25,
Worth it.
and the Fable Passage.
Worth
I
it.
love it.
Yeah, really good. Christopher, final thoughts.
I'm
on
just
that.
gonna do exactly what JP said. I'm gonna get two pre-release packs and a fabled passage. That's all I'm here for.
So finally, they're going to be
like,
including
okay.
the. Oh,
One thing,
sorry.
I hope they do give enough cards to the
Oh,
LGSs.
agreed. Because
Because I
the
feel like
last year,
this is just gonna go fast, and everyone's just gonna buy a bunch. It's gonna be a huge boost. But then if they run out, then the LGS is gonna like, what? We know we don't
You
have.
ran out. Everybody bought
we
a
ran out.
crapload of product.
because
Yeah.
last year the incentive was the Ikoria style walking ballista. And
Yeah.
that didn't even show up in LGSs. I know that Granuja had like
I
a
didn't even
very
know
minimal
that
amount.
was a thing.
Yeah, it was a
Same.
thing, and it looks very beautiful. But I know Granuja had like a few copies, and I know they they didn't get rid of them, but they used them as the promo as they were supposed to be used, and they never got more. So JP brings up a good point. Hopefully, they will
On
be a
that
very
same
limited
line,
version.
on that
No,
same line, do you think that it's a possibility to see more of this kind of stuff as Wizards tries to incentivize playing in stores again? What I mean is, are we going to get like more stuff like, oh, spend X amount of money and get like this really cool promo?
I hope it does, because it
Yeah.
really does help the LGS.
Yes, it does.
And recently speaking, it has felt like Wizards of the Coast has been shying away and away and away and away and away from
Screwing them over.
LGSs
Yeah.
and screwing them
Yes.
over.
Yep.
But this is like a good way to going back to your roots and supporting the mom and pop's place, your local game stores, and where everyone wants to play. I guess the pandemic has shown that people still like, even though stuff can work online, the yearning for wanting to play physical Magic is still there.
Yeah.
And it's a really good market if they really just incentivize it enough.
That's also another thing though. Like I feel like incentivizing to play paper Magic again is going to be a really important part of Wizards' future right now. Because at least right now, even though yes, we all want to play at our local game store, we all want to play paper Magic. But realistically, especially during this pandemic situation, paper Magic has become collectible more than anything. Meanwhile, if you just want to play Magic, you go play Arena because, well...
Yeah, if you want to play in a competitive setting, yeah.
Exactly. If you want to play in a competitive setting, you just got to go play Arena. And even if you want to play with your friends, a lot of our friends, instead of opting for like you brewing up their decks and putting a webcam like we've done before, have just opted by playing on Untap. I've seen a lot of people in other forums trying to find other platforms to do the same.
Yeah.
So I think that whatever like decisions and whatever campaigns Wizards decides to roll out during like these next few like months, or maybe like this next year, to incentivize playing paper Magic is going to be like a really important part of the future of the game.
Agreed. Yeah, it all depends how they manage this going forward to get people back into your LGSs and LCSs. Finally, they're going to also have mystery booster convention editions, which they promised. I think it was last year too, but pandemic hits, so they couldn't bring them over. I love the mystery booster. The convention edition is even better, and they're going to use it as an incentive for draft and in-store play as a welcome back experience. So they're going to have a very limited amount, but it'll be probably used as, if you get first place in a draft, you'll get a convention booster, which is great because these are highly sought after. Mystery boosters were a magnificent hit. I hope that they eventually make a mystery booster too, because again, this was one of the better products they've released in a very, very, very long time. It was $100. It had a great bunch of reprints. It was great. It was like beautiful. I think that's it regarding
the
these.
tutor at Uncommon. It was great.
Oh,
Going with the segue that Christopher left,
Sure.
talking about incentives and the specialty cards, we could talk about what's it called, the draft boosters.
Right. So we're doing that right now. MTG head designer explains why Strixhaven School of Mages had lower draft booster allocations at launch. I'm just gonna skim through. I'm gonna give you his quote. Star City General Manager Ben Blyce recently explained the situation of how Wizard of the Coast is still trying to figure out the balance of production of set and draft boosters, responding to a recently Tolarian Community College video he wrote on Reddit. When set boosters first came out, Zendikar Rising, the distributor allocation was about 80% draft boosters and 20% set boosters. At the time, the demand was super high on set boosters compared to the draft boosters, and draft boosters were devalued compared to the set boosters. And I think you all realize that because a lot of the Zendikar cards kind of like went off a cliff. But that's been like a thing.
Zendikar, Kaldheim, and Strixhaven has gone down.
Yeah. So when we get to the next two sets, for every set since then, so meaning Kaldheim and Strixhaven, the pendulum has swung to the other direction. So it flipped. It's now about 80% set boosters and 20% draft boosters at the distributor level. This number, it turns out, is too low for draft boosters. And now draft boosters have a premium, which is true. If you go to like Amazon, if you try to go to like Star City Games or to cardkingdom.com, if you go to all these places, you cannot find Strixhaven draft boosters. You can't. You can find a surplus of set boosters, but you can't find draft boosters. Now, I don't think this is at all a case of Wizards having artificial scarcity of the product. I think that Wizards is still feeling out what the balance of the product on set and draft boosters should look like. Strixhaven is readily available, set boosters. So it's not like they're shorting the product line across the board. The issue is that 20% isn't the right percentage for draft boosters. If I had to make an educated guess based on the spending habits and demand, I'd say the right balance is somewhere between 60 to 66% set boosters and between 33% to 40% draft boosters. Starting with Fabiola, what do you think about the way that Wizards is screwing us over?
What? What? They are?
No,
They've
they're
never
not.
done that before.
No, they haven't. They haven't.
Exactly.
The professor had a theory that until the general manager of Star City Games explained was the fact that he thought that Wizards was purposely lowering the allocations of draft boosters so they could basically print less for more, meaning the set boosters are 30 boosters instead of 36. It's less cards per booster, and the collector boosters are 12 boosters in foil. So they're literally printing less cardboard at a premium. But then the Star City Games general manager made the clarification that in fact Wizards is not actively doing this. They're just thinking of what the consumer wants, and they're trying to balance it out to see if there's a demand more for set boosters and draft boosters and adjust accordingly. Now, based on that information, what do you think about the allocation?
So basically, they're saying that people don't want draft boosters anymore. They just want set boosters.
They thought
to their data.
So they thought initially for Zendikar Rising, since a lot of people were buying the set boosters and they were selling out, and the draft boosters were left on the gutter, they were like, well, let's flip it. Let's see if 80% more set boosters and 20% draft boosters fixes the problem. And it didn't, because then it upset a lot of people that I don't play draft, but there's probably a lot of people that buy a box of these and either keeps it sealed or eventually breaks it open with a bunch of friends and they draft or they play sealed. The set booster is not designed for that. So now we have a problem that you're having less of the cheaper product, which is also annoying a lot of people because they don't want to pay an extra $20 to have literally less product, even though you might have better rares and better mythic chances. They just want to have a normal draft booster, either for drafting or for cracking open, and they have way more boosters as well, and it's again cheaper. So yeah, that's what they're doing.
I mean, again, Wizards has always been greedy. This
Okay.
is not surprising for me.
Okay.
Like if they're doing this on purpose and they're gonna, seeing it because no, we less money, but I mean not less money, less work and more money, then I can totally see them doing it. I mean, it's kind of sad because I don't know a lot of people that draft the actual draft boosters.
Mhm.
So I can't speak that, I'm heavily affected because all of us draft and all of that. But, it sounds like, once again, Wizards just trying to cut corners and get more money.
Yeah.
You would think that they're poor, like on the ground.
Right? I know. You would think they're scraping by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
printing
can't
cardboard.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JP, what do you think about the allocation?
I feel like his assumption of what the proper thing should be in terms of numbers is correct. It should be like a 35% with a 65% more to draft, because draft is the main thing. I do agree with the product. Simply, if I had the income, even with the income, I would just probably buy a draft booster box, mostly because I like drafting, and if you just come to your friends, hey, want to draft? I have a box. Cracking packs is always fun.
Yeah.
Instead of just opening just to see you, like actually just playing, I really do enjoy that. So I would probably just always buy a draft booster box, and just seeing the price increase kind of worried me for a bit. I mentioned this in the last in one of our I'm pretty sure it was our last podcast.
Yeah.
You guys can check it out. So I mentioned this that because we were talking about collector boosters, set boosters, and
Draft boosters.
draft boosters, and we were talking about how through the long run, because of the artificial scarcity that was being created, the price gouging on some of the product, while the price of the actual cards was dropping, that it was in a way unsustainable. It seems, as someone just outside and not fully understanding the numbers, it seems unsustainable, because the prices of the cards are keep plummeting, but the prices of the boxes keep raising. So you're never gonna make your money back if you're an average person.
Yeah.
So I was like, the professor mentioned that the collector boosters is what he doesn't like. I personally don't like the set boosters, because if you take the model of Pokemon and other Yu-Gi-Oh and other card games like that, you always have your premium product that are very much collectible with alternate arts, extended border arts, foil versions, and etc. And then you have your normal out of the box, the simple art. By having that same style, but adding like maybe the draft boosters should be the ones to change.
Okay.
Like maybe draft boosters should resemble more set boosters in terms of the quality of what you're getting.
Okay.
But collector boosters should stay because of what the collectors are getting in return.
Okay.
So the price disparity is what we really discussed, and what could be a problem.
Yeah.
I feel like going back to what I mentioned. I mentioned I was going to put a pin on the conversation with the counterspell. So I'm unpinning it. Those type of cards should be in draft boosters.
Okay.
That makes people want to buy draft boosters. Draft boost when you're drafting, you get those special cards. I was mentioning. I'm not sure it was before or during the podcast. A friend of mine opened a Kaladesh booster, and he got a Mana Vault, and during the draft he got a Chandra, Like the Mana Vault was an expedition. Those type of things that happen, like which is one of the things that started this whole alternate art, additional cards type thing.
Yeah.
That original system really worked,
Yeah.
and it made them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So maybe returning a bit to that system would be beneficial. Mostly, like, and it's mostly just the fact that since they introduced set boosters, the prices have been plummeting. Because collector boosters were a thing before, right? If I'm not mistaken, just a bit
Collector
before.
boosters started in Chernobyl Drain.
Yeah, exactly. So collector boosters alongside just normal draft booster boxes were working pretty healthily, and it's just the set boosters that are my problem.
Okay, fair enough. Christopher, what do you think about the allocation problems?
I do not have much to say. I mean, I'm with the professor on this one. Just buy singles, man. The good thing is that not everyone listens to that advice. They keep cracking boxes, so they make my singles cheaper. And
Yep.
I have to
Amen.
thank you all for the sacrifice of your wallets. I love you
Okay.
so much.
So, Fayuela, what do you think? Same as Christopher?
I already.
Oh, you went? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so fine. Well, in terms of me, I think there should be a little bit of a more of a balance in terms of the allocation for drafting and set boosters. I understand that set boosters are like a little thorn in what otherwise was a decent balance of having the product for the whales and the product for the the normal consumer. And now you have this weird in between that doesn't know exactly what it wants to be. But at the same time, because of having set boosters as an extra product, that means we have more product, and it means we have more chances of seeing the rares and the mythical singles be cheaper as a result, because they're cracking more. They're cracking more different variations of these types of products. I understand that the set
I think
booster.
the problem with variation though is still like this is great for paper.
Yeah.
But for arena, this creates a huge problem. But we already discussed that. I suppose.
Yeah, we discussed that. So as long as they don't do another hiccup that they did for the mystical archives in terms of historic and stuff like that, it'll be fine. But yeah, you're right. We have a comment. The Tatonator 69 says, "What's up, people? What's up?
What's up, Tato?
I know he was doing a little stream ahorita in No Nonsense Gaming. Follow the Tatonator. He's a cool dude." So basically, our final topic of the night, because it's going a little long.
Foils.
We have
the
two
foils.
topics to choose from. Yeah.
Yeah, let's put the foils, because I want to just end on a nice note of just, I guess congratulating Wizards.
Congratulating Wizards,
A little bit,
butt.
a little bit, maybe. Who knows? I mean, look at this picture. Stack of foils from the last two sets I got. Commander Legends on the left, Strixhaven on the right. Seems WotC got their act together regarding foils, question mark. Christopher, what do you think?
Well, I don't think there's been a podcast where I don't complain about WotC's cardboard quality. And
Yeah.
I am delighted to see that from Commander Legends to this set, there was an improvement.
Yeah.
But I personally, like in my head canon, like Commander Legends doesn't count as like one of the I guess you can say like this line of Magic sets. Like I'll have like my main Magic sets, which are like the M21 and the other stuff, and then there's like and then on like another list you have like your Modern Horizons and your Commander Legends.
Yeah.
Supplemental products.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just supplemental products, and I don't know, in like my head canon, if it's like one of the supplemental products, it doesn't count as like there being a like it's not like part of the streak.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can say. So unless I start seeing like in the next two sets, so that would be 3 sets in a row where they fix the cardboard quality problem.
Mm-hmm.
I will go hurrah, but until then, I will simply look and say, well, thank you for doing a better job. Is this going to continue, or are we just going to have like this set has great cardboard quality, and then we go to the next one and it's garbage again.
Garbage again. Yeah, which has happened before actually.
I'm exactly my point. Like I'm just gonna chill and I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm gonna wait before I start getting happy over like breadcrumbs.
Fabiola, what do you think about the card quality?
I mean, I think the picture, the left,
for itself.
The picture to the left was an improvement because before they would curl onto the inside and then no one can see the picture. That in itself is an improvement.
See, always looking at the bright side. Looking at the bright side of things.
I like Chris said, I really do hope that they continue doing this because I like conserving my cards, and every time I would open a booster, I would be, oh, look, a foil. And then I would literally get out of the car, do something, go back in, and be like, what? It was already curled. And I would try to put some stuff on it so that, okay, a little bit of pressure, and that wouldn't even help.
Yeah, no, I figured out that apparently the only way to make your foils flat again is you basically have to stick them somewhere that's that doesn't have any air coming in or anything, basically vacuum seal it at a certain temperature, and eventually they'll just kind of yes. That's I learned this from Reddit. For a future occasion, I'm gonna go look it up so I can find that comment again. Yeah. Okay. I could try to do it now while we keep on talking, but point is I was on Reddit and someone actually asked the question hey, how do I uncurl my foils? Yeah. So actually, I think I found it just like that on a Google search. Hold on, let me see if I can try to find it right now. Sure. Basically, they just suggested sealing it in a vacuum at a certain temperature with another card on top of it or something like that, and it would eventually just kind of
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, if it works.
No, if it works, it works. But having to do all these things for cardboard is insane.
Exactly, and my biggest issue with this is that fine, you can uncurl it that one time, but then are you just gonna have to do this again every other week to make sure that your cards are in good condition? Eventually curling and uncurling is gonna cause damage to the card regardless.
True.
And then sometimes the foil card is the thing that has more value, but then I look at it and it's curling, and it's like, how can this curled have value?
They basically just tell you is damage after it goes past a certain point, and you can't even sell it. So
agreed. JP, what do you think? Is it improvement?
I think this is great. I feel like if they keep this up, I'm gonna be really happy. I haven't seen any curling on my Osgear Commander. For the command, again, that's the only foil card you get other than the special thick foil card. That's not really a card. It's just
foiled. It's like a weird thick.
It's like a divider basically.
Yeah, it's a divider.
So other than that, I haven't seen mine curl, so I'm kind of happy. So technically, it would be 2 products that don't that have that. So I'm just hoping next 2 products will be,
Nice. I bought a bunch of Mystical Archive cards, and the only problem I saw in them wasn't the fact that they curled. It's the fact that I bought the etch foils, but some of them you can barely notice that they're etch foils.
Yeah, they're etched. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another problem. So while they fixed apparently the foiling process, as a result, for example, let me see, I bought this Japanese counterspell, and I know I bought the etch foiled because it was the cheaper one, and that's what they sent. I'm pretty sure if I check the receipt, it says that, and if I take the card out, the etch foiling is basically non-existent. It's at the bottom, and it's just a little bit on the name. And
I feel like that's been a problem just in general with etch foiling recently, because John's stupid broken box, you could barely tell.
Yeah, I remember that. I was telling him, you got to make sure that you know if it's an etch foil or a foil, because they're literally different, and you have to put them differently in the TCG Player Store. I mean, I'm happy because the etch foils, barely etched. They're not etched like in Commander Legends. I was so excited when they said etch foils. They're not even etch foil like the divider that comes with your commander.
Etched foil?
It's super it's very much quotation marks. It's not really etch foil. I don't know what it is. It's a little bit of a little bit of silvering, and that's it. It's very I don't like it. Point is, at the very least, because there's so much edge foils, it did drive the price down to the degree where they were cheaper than the normal versions of these Japanese cards, which was cool. So, you know, I got an edge foil version of Counterspell. I mean, that's basically it.
All right, so here's some of the
Yeah.
stuff that I found online about the thing. I can't find the Reddit posts that I was talking about, but I found it funny that while trying to find it, I'm actually finding various like older and newer forums that all just talk about the same thing, the whole foils curling problem, and like how some sites have like published articles on like how to like get rid of the curling in your foils. So let's see here. There was like, oh, you got to have it stand a few hours. Hold on. It says, if you're concerned about storing your foils, go to a cigar shop and get a humidor, which averages around $30, and then buying more silica gel fixtures. So they're actually suggesting getting a humidor, and on top of that, putting silica gel packets inside to keep the humidity out. That's how insane.
God. That's crazy.
Like, the other one over here says, hold on.
It's like we're taking care of plants or
I just put my I just put my
It's
curl
ridiculous.
foils on a flat surface and then just put a bunch of books on top.
Yeah, and just pray to God.
The problem is that I've seen messages of people that are like, hey, I tried doing this, but even with the cards inside of sleeves, the humidity finds a way to get into the sleeves, and like it's insane. Like the only like foil that I had until recently that I hadn't curled or anything was because I stuck it inside of a book, because inside of a book it can't really get any moisture because the rest of the pages will absorb it, and even then I still noticed a little bit of warping, and I was just mad about it too. It says here, to uncurl most of your foil Magic Gathering cards, you need to raise the moisture of the card, and you can do this in a homemade hydration chamber, because apparently there's two kinds of curling. Yes. There's apparently two kinds of curling. You have dry curling, which is like when you store the cards in a setting that is much drier than the manufacturer, which is like odd considering that it's up in Seattle. So in Seattle is like fairly dry, I would say. Especially if you're comparing it to somewhere like Puerto Rico. And then you have like humidity like curling, which is like another thing. It's ridiculous, honestly.
It's insane.
And the fact that there's people out here basically just saying, hey, it's fine. Just put your cards, like you put your foils specifically in like a Tupperware container stuffed with a bunch of silica and stuff to keep the humidity out. Like, I should not have to go through that trouble. Like, I'm not talking about leaving your freaking cards on top of your desk, literally just exposed to the weather. Of course not, because that's just not a way of but I should be able to just stick my cards in a deck box and at least and be fine with it. I'm not saying that, because sometimes you do put cards in a deck box, and if you store them, like if you don't store them properly, you can still get warping and bending, because again, if like let's say you leave some space and like the cards aren't like they're like not resting on anything, so they start bending. You know what? That is something that has to do, I guess you can say, user error. Like it's the problem of how the person is storing them. But if I'm storing my cards in a way in which it is implied, like according to like, I'm storing them in a binder, or I'm storing them in a deck box that's like a really tight fit to make sure that you don't get warping. I would expect exactly that, not to get warping. I actually opened up, like, we have this problem every freaking time. Like, I just go through my cards because I'm trying to build something new or something happens. I open a box that I haven't opened in months, and I have foil curling. That shouldn't be a thing.
I agree.
Not in a box that's been sealed and tucked away. But that's my cardboard warp rant.
What?
Imagine playing Commander and your deck is inside a bowl with silica and you're just drawing from there.
Oh my God. That's amazing. Let's make it a thing. Let's make it a thing.
I will make it like for one of those like Saturday night Commander nights or something. You just see me drawing for a bowl of silica. It's like, Chris, are you sure those are like in order or anything? I have no idea.
I have no idea. It's okay. Just give me a second.
Okay. I just don't want it to curl.
Exactly.
Pull a random card out.
Yeah. I got one. I'm good. Okay. We hit the 2-hour mark. Christopher, where can the people find you?
Well, guys, you can find me on my Twitch as ChrisCross13. I've been doing some stuff there at like very late at night. So, if you're a night owl, you might see me there. And you can find me here on the Cardboard Cave podcast and interact with us on our Facebook page.
Yeah. JP, where can the people find you?
You can find me here, the Cardboard Cave podcast. Hopefully, we'll start making more content in other platforms, and you'll find me there.
Awesome. Fabiola, our guest. I know you don't have anything to plug, but where can the people find you if they can find you anywhere?
Well, as a guest here, and I guess
Okay.
I'll do something. I'll put something.
Okay, awesome.
create
Okay,
something.
okay, cool, awesome. Well, you know me. You can find me at the Movie Guy podcast, where I do movie news Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can find me at my podcast called Cinemas Podcast, which I do under the Movie Guy podcast page. You can also find me here at Cardboard Cave, where we discuss and we rant about all Magic the Gathering things. You can also find me at 15 at Richport. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a stream with the Cine Nerds crew, where we're going to be discussing the film The Fall. It's a 2006 film, I believe, directed by Tarsem, and it's going to be interesting because it's a wacky, psychedelic type of film. So it's going to be an interesting analysis and critiquing of the film. But beyond that, you can Google me. I'm a filmmaker. I do movies. You can Google me. You go to my Vimeo. I do films. It's fun. It's great. I hope you have a great night with us. I hope you enjoyed the new spoilers. I hope you're excited for Modern Horizons and the new D&D set. I hope all your foils uncurl at night. And I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful night.
Hey geeks, do you love comics, collectibles, and TCG? Well, here at Cardboard Cave, we have the place for you. Pass by Kapitan Granuja Comics and Games and find all your favorite geeky items there. Look for them at Facebook or Instagram or call them at 787-659-7003. A store blessed by Nicole Bolas.